And good morning from beautiful Waynesville, North Carolina. This is David Crompton and Chuck Fiebernetz, who is in Studio B, Studio C for Chuck in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And this is the premiere edition of the Jonathan Crompton Show. It's featuring Tuscola football. And good morning, Chuck.
Morning to you.
How are you, my friend?
I'm well, ready to go.
There we go. Just real quick, going to get a lay of the land here. Little little preseason special. Getting ready for next week's opener against Asheville High when the Mountaineers take on the Cougars. Got a really special guest with Jonathan today. We've got Tuscola's principal, Casey Connard, that's going to speak here in just a little bit. We're going to talk some other things besides football and talk about his vision, where what he sees happening on the hill and where he wants to take the school, because there are bigger things than football. And I know that when I say that, a lot of people just passed out, but there are a lot of bigger things than football, and it's affecting young people's lives in a positive way. So good morning, Jonathan, and good morning. Can I call you Casey?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Good morning. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
You all are in Studio B, about like 3 feet from me. So anyway, you two have been busy since March or April.
Yeah.
That you have. So welcome, Casey, and everything that I've heard, and I'm out here a lot. Everything that I've heard has been nothing but positive in the direction that you're wanting to take the school and work within our community. So tell us a little bit. Tell everybody watching and listening a little bit about you, what got you here, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, man. I was fortunate. I started in Haywood County, I guess now about 14 or 15 years ago. My first job was a PE teacher at Hazelwood Elementary School, which was a great start, an unforeseen start. Just happened to be where I got a job, and man, it was a blessing for me. Haywood County is now my home. It's where I'm going to be, where I'm going to stay. Did that for about 6 years and went to another school in our county that we won't say the name on this show. A few miles down the road, and was lucky to serve as an assistant principal there for 5 or 6 years with some great people, some good friends of mine. Still talk to them. We're competitive with each other, but we still talk and have a good time and carry on and fish together. Worked there a long time and enjoyed it. And then it's funny, man, my year was wild. I went to Waynesville Middle School for about 3 to 4 months as the principal. Started there November 1st, and I think by March 1st or March 31st, I can't remember which one, but I was the principal at Tuscola. So it's been a heck of a year, but a good year. Learned a lot at Waynesville and got to know a lot of those kids that will be coming into our program. So that was a good opportunity for me. And man, my last few months at Tuscola are a dream. Great staff, great kids. Man, they welcomed me in. Community has welcomed me in, and I really appreciated that. So got to make some good hires early. I was fortunate to get to hire the football coach, and I hope I did a good job hiring him. We'll see.
There you go.
No, he's done great, and he's shown well and led the program and set some very high standards for our kids, but also held great relationships with them. And that's the expectation for everybody that we hire, and Jonathan has met that mark. So that's how I got here. It's been a great time for me, enjoyable, and I'm just ready to keep rolling. Looking forward to the new school year.
Absolutely. And when does the school year start?
We'll get our teachers back next week. I think Tuesday is our opening day faculty meeting, which is always fun to see everybody back in the building. Then the following Monday, I believe kiddos come back.
Okay.
We're ready for that.
Okay. And
as a new principal, when you come in, sometimes you have already, particularly the driving force in sports is football, especially in Haywood County. Is it a good thing that where you get to start and build from the ground and your guy in there, and is that kind of a scary situation for a principal?
It's both, Chuck. It is a good thing. One of the things that excited me was to get to hire my team. I'm an athletic guy with an athletic background, and that's kind of the dream as the principal, to get to interview football coaches and interview athletic directors, and try to do right and pick the best people for your kids. So I really enjoyed that part of it. Took a lot of work, a lot of time. It was a challenge, but our little administrative team, I think, has done a good job. We've vetted and researched, and Jonathan and I went to dinner a couple times prior to him getting the job, and so I could meet Tasha and his family, and he could get an idea of me, and I could get an idea of him, and we just clicked. So, man, I'm very fortunate to have gotten to do that. I was also able to hire, Coach Chambers as our athletic director, who's done a wonderful job so far. Supporting all of our sports, and getting some things in line that probably needed to be in line, and he's done phenomenal. Can't say enough good things about him. But it goes beyond football for me, man. I want all our programs to be great. I'm not just a football guy or a basketball guy. Man, I want the band to play the loudest and the prettiest, and I want their marching to be better than everybody else's. I want our chorus to sing beautifully. I hope our FFA raises the biggest, fattest pigs. I hope our OTC's spinning rifles better than the rest of them. So I want them all to be good, and we've got the people in place to do that. So I'm just excited for the future, man. I think we're ready to pop, as I tell people. It's going to be a good school year.
Outstanding.
That is outstanding. I bet it's fired this old guy up. So I know that Casey, you've got a lot of things happening. I know you've got a busy day today. Is there any, because I told you that I didn't want to keep you long. We just wanted to make sure that you were, and you're welcome here anytime.
I appreciate that.
Okay. And I want to emphasize before we let you get out of here and get on with your day, because I know you've got a lot going on, as I said, but you're in for the long haul here. This is not some short-term thing, and I think the same thing with Jonathan. This is not, hey, Asheville High, and then what? This is a big long-term deal, a commitment, and you are committed to this community and this program in this school.
Yes, sir. I'm here. I love these kids. I think if you ask people that know me and who have worked with me, I think they'll tell you that guy's about kids, and that guy's about creating experiences for kids. I hope that's my reputation. If it's not, I need to keep working harder on building that. But I love these kids. I know a lot of these kids. It's funny, when I went to Waynesville, I was like, man, I know almost every kid from 6th grade to 8th grade that went to Hazelwood. I knew those kids, and I had a connection with them from the time they were 5 years old, which was cool for me. Then I got, the move to Tuscola, and I was a little nervous, man. Am I going to know these kids? What are the relationships going to be like? And it was the same thing. And I quickly realized I'd had every student from 6th grade to 12th grade that was on that side of the Waynesville district there at Hazelwood. I had almost every one of those kids. So, man, I'm in it. I love those kids. I love the school. I enjoy the staff that I'm working with. I've got a second to none administrative team, and Miss Amanda Wells, who's an assistant principal, curriculum guru, hard worker, tenacious. I've got Mr. Carver, who, when you get to the stadium on the 18th, you're going to see clean bleachers, and you're going to see gravel spread and weeds pulled and pressure wash sidewalks. We've really done a lot of work down there, and he's led that up as an assistant principal. He's got a lot of donations. He's been on the Bobcat himself spreading. So great guy there. And then we also hired Ashley Pace, our lead teacher, who is maybe one of the best math teachers in the state of North Carolina. We're excited to have her and her imprint on our school. So, man, I've got a great team. I've got great people around me, great staff, and great kids. There's nowhere else I'd want to be a principal at. Our school's special, and we're going to show that.
Chuck?
Well, I mean, it's exciting for the new principal and what Casey has done in the short time he's been in the hot seat, so to speak. But I think that the hiring of Jonathan and Casey, that Tuscola is going to accomplish. Y'all going to get to that goal that you want to go. You're just impressive, and I wish you the best of luck as a principal, and I wish I've always rooted for Jonathan, so I think you got a great one.
I agree. We're in it together. There's a good team there, and he's sure part of it. So I'm behind him, and I know he's going to do well. Just the little things he does, wins and losses aside, the things he does for kids, the impact he has on kids that people don't see is much bigger than the wins and losses in a football game. And one of the things he said when we interviewed is, "Man, I want to build young men." And people say that a lot, but I've watched him do that. I've watched him take in tough kids. I've watched him get on them for having socks in the floor in the locker room. His expectations high of them, but he also loves on them and has fun. So he spoke it, and so far he's lived it, and I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to see what he does. He's going to do a wonderful job.
Well, I'll tell you, Casey, if you want to stay right there, we're fixing to talk some football. We want you to stay, but we don't want to put any pressure on you.
You're good. I'll stay and listen to football. How's that?
Okay. All right. And you interject anytime you want, because I do know this. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about. So, Chuck, I'm going to turn this part over to you, and let's get the 2023 season started right now, as the Mountaineers are deep in preparation for Asheville High School. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Chuck, and then I'll ask when I need to ask. How's that sound?
Great. And first of all, is that all the little kiddies out there watching this, you too can be like Jonathan Crompton, just like Nick Saban has his Coca-Cola bottle on his stand. You can a Dunkin' Donut cup. I'm gonna get one for next week's show, and I'm gonna have it and drink it and show it up on the screen. So you too, and David. So Casey and I, if you're on next, anytime, make sure you bring your Dunkin' Donut cup. That's a promo for the head coach.
That's an unpaid sponsor.
But a necessary.
Exactly.
Hey, Jonathan, assessment, obviously you had, football started on August 1st officially, but where, your assessment, where your team's at right now, going 1 week away from the Asheville game.
Oh, honestly, we're ahead of where I initially thought we would be, with just as far as the learning curve of what we're going to do offensively and defensively. Because I know the vision of where I want us to go schematically. I know the time and effort it takes to put into it. Our kids have genuinely busted their butt to learn what we're wanting, learn how to do things properly in the studying of our game plans and how we practice, how we prepare for practice, that type of stuff. So where we're at right now, I couldn't be more pleased with the young men, and not just the varsity, but the JV as well, especially the ninth graders coming straight from middle school and just jumping right in. So it's been fun, especially this summer, getting all the ninth graders up, so the whole team's together. Because they cannot participate in spring practice, so that's been good. Like I said, we're ahead of where I thought we'd be at the moment, which is exciting. But we still obviously got a long way to go. And as you know me well enough that I'm always going to say that, though, because I do have a high expectation of myself, our staff, for our game planning ability, and our players to execute our game plan. But that's where the expectation comes from us: is we got to be able to teach, and keyword teach, not tell, but teach the kids the game of football.
Right. Speaking of what your staff is, also, we always talk about the head football coach and the kids and their development, and they're sponges. But how are you and your staff? Are you gelling? Is it working out? Are you ahead of schedule as far as, on the same page?
Yeah. No, I think so. I think those guys are eager to learn what we were going to do, on all three sides of the ball. So it's been, they've jumped in 2 feet and didn't look back. So I'm encouraged by that. A lot of great guys on the staff. like I said, everybody's gelling together. Obviously, coming in, I was the odd man out, which is fine, but they've welcomed me with open arms. Good thing is I knew a good amount of them beforehand. So that obviously helps, knowing them a little personally.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Go ahead.
Tell us your staff.
Or I'm not going to tell you what they coach.
No, I'm not asking that. Just tell me.
I know. I do
It's
that
like
to
the
everybody.
CIA.
That I am. I'm very secretive on what we do. But obviously myself, we got Austin Chambers, Austin Sluter, Branson Reese, Lander Dumas, Houston McCracken, Zach Shepard, and Derek Bradshaw.
Absolutely. And, man, I was really impressed to watch those guys work together last night, just to watch the way that because, it's a big change, I would assume, and the responsibilities you put on certain guys but to watch them last night at that scrimmage, I watched the coaches just as much as I watched the players last night, and really great communication with the young men, teaching the whole time, and that goes back to what you talked about is teaching, and the scrimmage is a great opportunity to take the time to communicate well, and they did a great job of that last night. I was extremely impressed with everybody, and I just want to make sure that they know how much they're appreciated by you and Casey and everybody out there, because you're not getting rich doing this, and they put a lot of time in.
And they do, and that's something that actually in the very beginning of this whole process and interview process that we talked about was, how am I going to be able to delegate? And that's where I kind of leaned back, and I've got a bad back, in case you're wondering. That's why I'm leaning, because it's hurting this morning, and it was hurting that day. And I said, if you're one, you got to trust the people on your staff, or they shouldn't be there. You have to be able to genuinely trust them to do their job. And I do genuinely trust our guys. And some of the best staffs I've ever been around, if you're never the smartest one in the room and everybody can say that, then you're pretty darn good. And that's the goal, is to make sure that you're never, as the head coach, you never want to be the smartest one in the room. Because if you're not, then you're very hard to beat. And, we're well on our way to that. Just as far as football knowledge, the work ethic, guys, as soon as we got back from the scrimmage, what time we coming in tomorrow? So the eagerness to want to get back to work is outstanding. So I'm excited, because as soon as we're done here, I'm headed right up there. We gotta start watching film, breaking down film from last night's scrimmage, and there was never a complaint. It was, hey, when are we coming in? What time do we got to be here? So that's encouraging, because just as far as a whole staff, heck, I had 3 players message me last night, Coach, when's the Asheville film going to be up? I want to watch film. I can't tell you the last time I had a player text me the same night of a game asking for next week's game film already. So that's encouraging for the future of our program, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Jonathan, speaking on Asheville, we all know the quality of team you're going to open up the season, and the Jonathan Crompton era. But when or have you already installed the Asheville game plan with your staff and your kids?
Who's asking?
Chuck Fiebernuts.
Are we live on air, or are we not? I'm screwing with you, Chuck.
Okay.
No,
Chuck's about to have a stroke.
Chuck's over there panicking on me real quick. No, we obviously have been working. I've always got a few weeks ahead in my mind of how we want to do things. So we've been working on it here and there, but not full, like, hey, here's the full install for Asheville. That'll come Monday. That'll come Monday for the kids when we practice in the afternoon. But a majority of it's there. There's always going to be fine tuning. I mean, heck, there'll be random stuff we add on Wednesday next week before the game, of something that one of us sees on film that we didn't notice over the weekend. So that's the good thing, is our guys and myself continuously watch film and try to make us better. It's never a bad thing to question, right? It's always a good thing when you can sit there and have a conversation and go, what's the betterment of the team? And this is what we're going to do regardless of whose idea is it. And that's where we've been. So like I said, a majority is there, but not 100%.
Right. Johnson, overall, looking at the conference, the top four teams in the Mountain Seven: West Henderson, Tuscola, Smoky Mountain, Franklin. The way they finished 1 through 4, are those teams? Do you know? Well, obviously you will know. Were they senior rich last year, or are they returning starters?
I don't know about everybody if they were how many seniors they had. And you always hear rumors about certain guys doing this and this and all that. I mean, I guess I heard one the other day about a kid from one of those four teams that I won't say that I was very surprised. So there's always, in today's day and age, there's always going to be something crazy happen. But I do know from top to bottom, we do have a really good conference. It's a tough conference. So, we've got our hands full, especially with our non-conference schedule. Thing I do like is that we're going all non-conference, then conference. Last year, there was a couple non-conference games, trickled in for us, which I don't particularly like that as a coach. Once we get into conference play, I would rather just go right into it, which we do. And I plan on trying to keep it that way. It just makes it easier instead of worrying about, hey, does this game, yes, it 100% matters, but it technically is not going to affect our playoff ranking in week 9. So I'm glad we do have 6 straight conference games to end the year. None of them are going to be easy. Heck, no football game's easy. So good thing is we're all up to the task.
Good.
Yeah. It's speaking of your non-conference schedule, kind of go over it real quick because it is it's pretty tough.
Yeah, but that's, to me personally, that's us. So we had North Buncombe and Murphy last night, and that's what us 3 coaches were talking about is, why would you ever want to play non-tough non-conference? It only gets you better and more experience for the playoffs when you got to get into the 3rd and 4th round and you're playing the select few teams left. So I like that we have a tough non-conference. We open up with Asheville, then we got back-to-back road games at Polk and McDowell, and then in non-conference at home versus Swain. So, I think it's a good mix of, anywhere between 1A and 4A. And it's something we're up to the challenge. It's just the good thing is, like I said, we're getting those out of the way early before conference play, kind of get the tweaks out from a new schematical system in year 1. So that's always a positive.
That is, once you get done with the big opener, which I don't think you can get a better opening game. A lot of excitement, packed house on home, but then you got to travel back to back on the road. Doesn't matter who you play on the road; it's on the road.
Yeah.
And then you come back and have a tough game against Swain County before you're idle the following week. How do you assess, as a head coach, how do you want that non-conference schedule to go?
In what way? You talking about wins and losses or just in general?
A lot of times, people want to get ready. They pack, a couple powerhouses on there.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm a believer we play you got to play a tough non-conference, in my opinion, because our plan is to have a playoff run every year. Once you start getting into the 3rd and 4th round of the playoffs, it's not easy teams now. Right. They're all at that point, no matter if there's an upset or not, if there's an upset, they beat somebody that was there too. So that's where, to me, it gets you prepared for those moments. It gets you, I'm going to take a shot at Alabama here. It's not like playing an FCS school before you play the Iron Bowl the week before.
Right.
We can take any shot at Alabama you want, and I got you back on that.
Well, I had to do it. Sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Saw my opportunity and I took it. Okay, you know what I mean. There's a T behind us, for God's sake. I got to take a shot at the A.
That's it.
And especially the color of the school.
And non-football for just a second. The little, it's details. And you, I've always tried to, I always talk to you and your sister and about, details. And then you guys would laugh at me when I would do something stupid that wasn't detail oriented. But
sounds about right.
One of the things that I'm so impressed with, and I'm going to go back to Casey on this. If you look at what's scrolling it on our screen at the bottom, that color is the official school color. And whatever because I figured out a way that you could, once they told me the code and you type it in, that is the school color. And one of the things I heard Casey talking about when I was at, you came and said, hey, come with me to this thing for just a minute, because we didn't go to see each other anymore because you're busy all the time and I'm busy. And they were talking about uniforms. Somebody was talking about uniforms. And Casey walked over there and said, Casey walked over there basically and said, we have a school color. I'm going to find out what that color is, and all of our uniforms are going to be that color. They're not going to be 14 different shades, details. And that's impressed the heck out of me. And it might be something small to somebody else, but you take pride in Casey. Talk about, and again, I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
You're all right.
But that's a big deal to me that you took the time to say, stop.
Yeah, I believe branding is important. I believe that T is important. I think we've got to respect it, and I think we've got to be very consistent in what we use across our school building. I think when you look that way and you prepare that way and send that message, that goes deeper than just a color. That goes into the culture of your school and the pride that you take in things and the details, which are important, like you said. But it was funny. One of the things that bothered me just a little bit is I saw different colors of gold and yellow, and few places where maybe paint was covered with a different color paint that was the two different yellows, and it drove me a little crazy. So I got to digging with Coach Chambers and Jonathan as well. And we kind of found our color, and it's funny. Everybody around the school now knows Pantone 116C.
I was about to tell you that right here.
That's our gold, Pantone 116C. And, we modeled that after the colleges. If you go and look on their communications websites, they don't have those things. They lay it out exactly what you're supposed to use in the codes for paper and uniforms and all those types of things. So we modeled it after that and chose our correct Pantone, and we're going to be consistent from here on out.
Yep. And that's a big deal, paying attention to detail, because it's PMS 116C in the brand color when you is FFCD00. That's what that means. So all you out there listening, if you want the proper color and you go to somebody and you get something on your own, use the code, because the principal is watching.
I appreciate that plug.
And I'm serious though. That's details. And again, that's pretty. I was impressed with that. And Chuck and I had a conversation about that. And I said, man, we have to have the right color, or we can't do this stuff on the bottom. So finally, I harassed through text and Jonathan. I said, man, you got to get me this thing now. And so anyway, it's about details. But I'll give it back to you, Chuck, for you and Jonathan talk more football. I just wanted to throw that in. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know how to segue from colors to football.
I can help you, but I probably shouldn't.
But
it's not October yet.
So the upcoming week, and you got, I think you said the kids will start school this Wednesday?
No, the 21st.
21st. Okay, so with the kids not in school, what will be sort of like your week plan? And is that a difficult thing if kids not in school, for your opener?
It is definitely not ideal, I guess you would say, but we'll practice in the afternoon just as if we got out of school. So they'll be in at the end of fourth period. The hardest one is game day, because you don't see them all day on Friday. Can't have them there at 8:00 in the morning. Just keep them in the field house till game night. So that's probably the biggest hurdle, is actual Friday itself. Making sure they get in early enough. We can have a pregame meal. Try to get as normal of a routine as possible. But you kind of play the cards you're dealt. At least it's only 1 week, 1 game week, not in school, because then the week 2 will be on a normal schedule. So that's the biggest thing, is trying to keep it as normal as possible. Have them in, the last 25 or so minutes of what would be fourth period. Let them start getting ready for practice. Blow the whistle for stretch at 3:15 like we normally will. Trying to get on a normal schedule.
Great.
Well, let's regress a minute, because a lot of folks have come to me and said, why now? Why did this, because I know you turned down a lot of coaching jobs in college. I know for a fact you were offered a offensive coordinator job in college. You were offered basically an offensive coordinator job in the CFL, and you turned all that stuff down. And coming home, I think, meant something to you.
Yeah, actually, I had this conversation the other day with one of our apparel reps and a couple of our coaches. I have been gone from the time I was 18 till 31. Right? I mean, that's just, or technically 17, right before I turned 18. At a certain point, for me, you do want to be around family. Me and Tasha, we don't have kids, but we've got Avery, our niece, which, something like last night was really cool, because she had texted me, and getting a text, like I said, she's not my kid, but she's my sister and brother-in-law's kid. And, she's like a mini me, which is really scary, side note. Text me and was like, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there, but I'm rooting for you, and I love you. Stuff like that. That's why you want to come home, tired of moving around, want to have stability in life, want to be around family, want to be around good people, and want to help build the future of the game and for the next generation of players. And to me, and I was very honest with this in the interview process, that if I was gonna leave the spot I was at, I was only gonna leave for one place. And that's here. So, because it is home to me and our family and Tasha's family. So I know it's like I've told our kids this, and I'm very open about this. It is bigger than football. It is about life, being able to just grow up and for them being a young man, or me trying to grow and mature as I get older, as I'm getting closer to 40, which is kind of scary to say. Those things is why I want to have stability in life. I want to be able to have a life. And then, like I said, be around my family, be around to screw with you. And, you know what I mean? Just because we have that relationship as father and son, it's sometimes people think that we're bickering, but we're not. Be able to see my mother, see Avery grow up, and try to convince my sister to let her come out to Haywood County. Those types of things. That was just a slight little, go ahead and set that seed real quick. I've tried a few times. We'll see.
Excellent. Hey, Jonathan, aside from, what could you tell us about, from a coaching perspective, about your opening opponent, Asheville?
How much time do you got? Because
Well,
let's call it Asheville is Asheville. That's the easiest way to describe them. Just the history of the program. They've always been a powerhouse. It's always them or Reynolds is going to win their conference, and everybody knows who wins that game is going to go to the fourth round. You know what I mean? Just because of playoff seeding. So we couldn't have asked for a better overall team to open up with. They're tough top to bottom, and I know they got a strong safety committed to Rutgers. They've got a defensive, or I know one, if not two defensive ends, got group of 5 offers. So it's always going to be a tough test with Asheville. So we're looking forward to it. We're up to the challenge. I know our kids are kind of itching to go play somebody besides ourselves in practice. So I'm looking forward to it. It's just, you can't say enough good things about Asheville for what they do from top to bottom with Court. He runs a great program. Shout out to Jesse Swain, one of my childhood best friends. He's at Asheville. So it'll be good to get out there and compete against somebody other than ourselves. And if we're going to do it, then, we're doing it against definitely one of the best in this part of the state for sure.
Very good.
Chuck, I'm going to throw it to you for a while.
Okay.
Let's do it, Chuck.
Let's go.
Let's have a conversation.
Assessment of your team, I'm not getting individual players or schemes or anything like that, but has this run been what you expected? Although it's a short run, you came in on a late time from coaches, but you've had to quickly install your system, and has that been what you expected in the kids' response to it?
Yeah, definitely. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. It's been extremely fun and a blessing for me because I love the game of football. I love being able to teach the game of football, but getting to know the kids and seeing their eagerness. I mean, they want a stability. They have. I mean, and our seniors, if you think about it, for them, they've had a very crazy high school career with COVID as when they were freshmen, really essentially a year and a half of not really seeing anybody type stuff. Outside of going to football, playing 2 seasons in 6 months, they just want a stability in their life. So hopefully I've been able to give that to them. And on the football side, I think they genuinely have seen that it's not just words with me. I genuinely mean it. I care about them. I've learned to love these kids. They're phenomenal group of kids. And so I was talking about our trainer, Denise, last night on the way back from North Buncombe. I wish some of these seniors, obviously football-wise, but just as more so as the kid, I wish they were freshmen to have more time with them because how great they are. So it has been a fun ride for me. It's been more than I could have ever wanted. And, I'm just looking forward to the future.
So far, what has been some of the most difficult challenges as a new head football coach?
I'll be politically correct here.
Got it.
Well, certain things, you're always going to step in when you're taking a head coaching job. There's only 2 ways that you get it. Either somebody retired or somebody got let go, right? Typically, you don't inherit the best situation to begin with, but I've inherited a great group of young men. So the biggest challenge is just them getting to know me, all right? And then making sure things are, you like to put your own twist on it, making sure that the footballs that we order have the laser engraved T on it, right? That type of stuff. Making sure that we upgrade our equipment to what I think our kids really deserve, not need, but deserve. I think we did lack in that department. So those things are where the biggest challenges come from. Just making sure we're up to par with everybody else because kids can't help where their parents live, right? In the sense of where they go to school. So just because they go to a certain school doesn't mean that somebody should get more than they get. And I'm a believer in that. And we're going to have, while I'm here, we're going to have the best equipment that we can possibly have and afford. And that's where our community has came through huge with our fundraiser to help us buy new O-line chutes, new O-line boards. Every kid now has a Guardian cap. I think we were one of the last schools locally that didn't have Guardian caps. That type of stuff, it's just year one's always going to be the toughest in that way, to get everything ordered and up to par. And like I said, our community came through with our fundraiser to help us be able to do that and actually.
That's an understatement.
Take a deep breath.
Yep, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
Just a shout out to this whole community.
Yeah, we broke the record. In case you're wondering, we broke the record. I don't know if I told you this. For North and South Carolina, we broke the record for the company we went through as far as fundraising. Well, that's how huge our community has come through to help and support not myself, but our kids and what they deserve that they need. I didn't think we were going to be able to order some of the things that we need until year 2 or 3 that we were already able to get because our community. And when I say our community, it's not just obviously just Waynesville. People that everybody knows that live in California we had 22 states donate to our fundraiser. 22
and
states,
Canada
plus Montreal up in Canada. One of my cousins, shout out to Patrick, and donate. So really, if you think about it, 23 states being able to donate, essentially, that's massive for what says that our brand is. So that's kind of helped ease that difficult transition period because we do have such a large support group.
Wow. Do you know the final tally? What your program will rake in?
I don't know the exact number yet. No.
Okay, Jonathan, I've been intrigued. When you started, it's always been in the back of my mind is when you come in, the seniors are always the key, and we all know that. But does a senior take longer to buy in because it's a new coach again? And how do you deal with the seniors, because you're excited about the freshmen and the middle school kids, and you got even juniors will have 2 years with you, but the seniors will get 1 year. Is there a different way of coaching them, or how have the senior group?
I actually had this talk last night with my personal middle school coach, Mike Matthews. He came out and was supporting us, and we're just sitting there talking shop before the scrimmage there on the sideline, and just he saw the way I was interacting with a couple, especially our seniors. Communication. Just be open, be human, let them be themselves, let them know that you're human as well. Just because you're the head coach doesn't mean that you're not human. Just because you're the head coach doesn't mean that you're always right. Right? Does that make sense? Like,
Right.
We're always going to make mistakes. We're human beings. When they see that you can openly admit, hey man, that's my fault, I called a bad play, or I told you wrong, or I showed you the wrong look or whatnot, then they understand, hey, well, he's not a quote unquote dictator. Yes, on game night, hey, whatever I call, we're going to run. All right. You know what I'm saying? There is that level of respect that they know, but they also know they can be themselves. They're teenagers. They're still learning who they are. They still live under their mom and dad's house. Right. So those things are the thing how you get kids to buy in, is just be yourself, let them know that they can be themselves, and kind of mesh together and just genuinely talk to them. Have one-on-one conversations. Luckily, I did take a lot of communications classes in college, so I learned how to do that.
Right.
Just to have a conversation, let them see, hey, football aside, football, take care of yourself. What are your goals in life? Right? Let them talk it out. If they need somebody to vent to, just because you're a head football coach doesn't mean you're not there all year long. We're outside football season, you still see them and you still want to be a part of their life, support them in their other sports. So when they see that stuff, I think they quote unquote buy in easier. But it's not just, like I said, it's not just words. And I think our kids have realized that.
Yeah. And, seeing Mike there last night, that was really good. I still want to hit him from the Tuscaloosa thing. You were on the field, you don't remember, but you know the story.
Yep.
Late in the fourth quarter. So, but anyway, back to the football stuff, because in our future shows we're going to be able to talk details of games and all that. But right here, I understand there's certain things that you do not want to talk about. I get it, and Chuck gets it for today's show.
Well,
But,
and here's the reason why, so everybody understands. I like to joke with our kids. I'm a football psychopath, right? I keep a lot of things close on purpose. So, and our kids have learned that. So there's certain things we can't talk about today.
What is that you called him the other day, Chuck?
Coach Bill Belichick.
At least I smile.
No.
Belichick doesn't smile. At least I'll give you a grin every now and then.
Well, I haven't seen you smile, but anyhow, I call you Coach Bill.
Hey, you know what? At least, never mind. I won't take a shot at Lane. I won't do it.
So anyway, you talk about the details, and this is kind of you were really blessed to grow up playing for Mike Matthews, and then you played for Travis Nolan, who I still consider to this day. I get emotional talking about him. I mean, he is that guy, on and off the field.
Mm-hmm.
But when you went to UT, and you had to miss your whole freshman year with that shoulder surgery, and you came back, and your first spring as a freshman in that scrimmage, and Chuck, I'll never forget. You and I are standing there, and we're in the stands, and y'all are going down the field, and you throw a touchdown pass, and everybody's going, yeah, and you're fired up, and everybody's fired up, and then you said, hey, we're going to go eat dinner after this tonight. Let's stay, everybody stay. We're going to go eat dinner. So we waited, and we waited, and like 2 hours later, you still never came back, and you waited, and you all went in a meeting room, and you were breaking down film of the live scrimmage, and it was you and Cutcliffe and the staff and Peyton, and Peyton told you, I'll never forget you telling me, Peyton said, Jonathan, that's a great throw. You threw to the wrong guy. Even though it's a touchdown, you threw to the wrong guy. And they kept you in that room for 2.5 hours going over that play, and not chewing you out, but Peyton saying, Jonathan, this is what you have to see. You yes, that's a touchdown, but you threw to the wrong guy. And they broke it down, and you were, I'll never forget you coming out and saying, wow, this is different.
Yeah, that's, like I said, that's moments like that's what
football wise.
They make you want to learn the game more, and that's where, and yes, I'm certain you can say what you want, but you know what? We'll never be out schemed. I can promise you that. I don't care who we play. That's not a slight on anybody. That's just because I've luckily over the course of my life and career in football, I've learned how to do certain things because of people smarter than me. I'll never claim to be the smartest person on earth because we all know that would be a lie. Let's call that like it is, right? But I can manipulate the system when it comes to football of understanding what to do, when to do, and why to do it. And our kids have kind of seen that, I think. So that's the fun part for me. I genuinely enjoy and love game planning.
Because just a little bit, and this is not a thing, but just the rooms that you've been in.
Yeah.
And I think if you've got every note from every meeting from the time you were a freshman in high school until today that you ever had, and I'm not saying this to I'm just to name names, because that has nothing to do with what's going to happen Friday night, but it's just the work ethic that you had, but being in the room and scheming with Randy Sanders, David Cutcliffe, Lane Kiffin, John North, but it escaped. But who was your offensive coordinator with Lane? Oh my God, I love him.
Jim Chaney,
Coach Chaney, Bill Belichick, Bill O'Brien,
Shanahan,
Mike and Kyle Shanahan, John McVay, Matt LaFleur. I mean, like I said, I've been able to be around a lot of smart individuals.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not using names to say. I'm just saying those are the things that you've had to, and those, there were times it was very unpleasant for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's because at that level, it's a business. They don't care about your personal, but it's just one of those that I've taken nuances from every good or bad situation and kind of made them my own little nuggets, and tweaked it the way that I think they need to be tweaked, or added certain things here and there. And that's where I've came up with my offensive system and how I do my terminology and how I pair certain concepts with each other and certain things in the run game and certain run blocking schemes. Is I've seen and learned how to adjust on the run, and that's not a bragging right. That just you ask me to change brakes on a car, we probably need to be walking. You know what I mean? Like, and I know my weaknesses, and by God, that's one of them. But football, at least, is my strength.
Let's talk about the other side of the ball for a minute, and how has the integration gone? When you put your staff together, you made some decisions, and you kept and you got Austin Chambers on the defensive side of the ball, and how has that transition gone for you and for him, and to date?
I think well, he's one of the hardest workers there. That's for sure. And then obviously adding the role of athletic director puts more on his plate, but I think he's handled it well in the sense of he can multitask very, very productively. When it's football, and when it's not football time, then he's athletic director, and I think he wears both hats with a lot of honor and a lot of respect in the community. I think he's going to do a tremendous job for us. I really do, and that's where, like I said, we all understand if the person beside us is smarter than us, so to speak, then we're all good. And myself included, are not afraid to look at somebody else and go, what should we do here? And that's where you build continuity. That's where you build longevity with the staff. That's how you get better and grow as a staff. It's okay to question. How do we find the perfect answer for our kids? And that's something that I think he does in a very well-mannered, trying to be politically correct.
Yeah,
he does it very well. He understands the game of football. He's a smart individual. I enjoy our conversations of we're just able to go in there, we just draw formation, and we just start talking about what beats this, what's the weakness of this, so we can try to strengthen it. And so that's where it becomes fun, because next thing you know, you've been 2 to 3 hours and you don't even know it. So I'm excited to see him put his stamp on our defense, and put his own little twist and flavor on it, because I think he's going to do very well at it.
Hey, Jonathan, with about 7 minutes to go on our show here, I do have a question regarding, while you're in the coaching, if you have this gift and you want to give the gift to your players, from you or of you, what is that gift the most that you want to give to your kids?
Honestly, I think every situation is different. I think every situation requires something in a different manner. But the biggest thing is, and I've had one-on-one talks with a lot of kids, but football is its own entity. When they leave and they come back in 15 years, just like I do with Coach Nolan, the talks that we had, or seeing how he treated certain individuals that didn't have the best home life and took them in for, a week to let them kind of get away. So affecting them more so as young men, and learning how to grow, and be a great member of society, be a great father whenever they want to have kids, or a husband, or, a son or a brother, or whatever avenue of life they go into in the work field, be the best that they can be so they can affect the next generation. Because when I'm dead and gone, that's what I want them to be able to relay what I've done. Just like the same thing that Coach Nolan used to preach to us. I've been fortunate to play at the highest level of football, but there's nothing like playing on Friday nights with the kids you grew up with. You play the longest time of your life with the same group of kids from the time you're in youth league till you graduate high school than you do any other level of football. And I remember getting told that when I was going into my senior year, and I was like, man, this is a crock of crap. Play in the, SEC or play in the highest level of football, man, that's the most fun. After doing it, if I, looking back, I would have hung it up earlier than I did to get into coaching earlier if I would have known then what I know now. But obviously that's the game of life. That's to me, that's what coaching's about. In 10, 15, 20, 30 years, when kids come back and go, Coach, man, I appreciate anything you did. That's what I'm most looking forward to.
Well, let's we're winding down for this show, and I'm really looking forward to next week so we can get into the nuts and bolts of the actual football without the CIA being involved.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But Casey and Jonathan, uh, talk about in Casey, talk about next Friday night. What time do people need to start coming? Some of the logistics. Don't forget down here real quick because before you guys talk, you know. I don't want to be self-serving, but this is sponsored by Crompton's Auto Mart. Go to cromptonauto.com and see our inventory and all that good stuff. But on Fridays, I might be in over my head. We're going to tailgate down here. Everybody is welcome to come. Hopefully I'll have everything ready, and I don't even know how much to get because I don't know if we're going to have one person or 50 people or whatever. But around 10:30 or so this coming week, the stuff should be done. It's either going to be pork, pulled pork, or spat cut chickens for everybody. I don't know yet, and we'll be down here until time to leave. So if you want to come, you want to eat, you want to help, you want to bring, you want to just come sit and talk football or whatever, we're going to be here. So I hope I'm not over my head in that. But anyway, I guess what I'm asking you two to do here before we go is talk to the Mountaineer Nation. That just a phenomenal group of people that are passionate about the athletic program. They're passionate about the football program, and they're passionate about this community. And as we get ready for Friday night, so I'll leave it to you two, and then we'll get out of here.
We're going to be ready. We've our community's second to none. We're excited to see everybody in the stands that night. We hope they're packed out. I believe our band's ready to roll. The cheerleaders have been having 7-hour practices all week getting ready, so there'll be something to see there. I know they've worked hard and are prepared. We're going to have some good food in the concession stand and a good product on the field. I know with Jonathan and those guys, with their work ethic and what they've done this summer, and those kids are ready. So we're excited to see that. We'll have the gates open probably around 5, and people can come in, go ahead and start getting you seats. Kick off at 7:30. We'll have a little pregame stuff I think he's been working on, and it's going to be good. I will say I may have to come get a piece of chicken on Friday from you. And I already about bought a new truck this morning looking through your lot. So you got some good stuff down here. I'll come back. I promise you.
Well, I appreciate it. But Jonathan, we're going to turn it over to you, and then Chuck and I are going to sign off. And again, I'm so looking forward to talking football without the CIA involved. And Chuck,
listen, I just understand. I'll be honest. We can talk about the prior game. When you try to get information for the next game, it won't happen. It just you can. Chuck's going to try every week. I'm telling you now. I know Chuck. He's gonna try. He's gonna keep going again. I don't know what you're talking about. But no, it'll be good. And just so everybody understands, for our fans, we will actually our locker room will be back under our home stands. To me, like it should be, where our youth league and our middle school players will be able to see our varsity players and see our JV players on Thursdays for home games. Walk out of the locker room and get ready to go to the field. So they have stuff to look forward to. They can start to get to know those guys and put a name with a face and all that. And that's where, to me, that's what a tight-knit community like we have is about. So we'll be dressing back under the home stands. So all I ask is everybody be loud, which we know you will. Dylan's going to have the band ready to go. I can promise you that. They're already sounding in mid-season form. So we're looking forward to it. We'll be there. Our normal pregame time right about 5:15, 5:30 at the latest, and we'll be on the field for pregame our starting of our warm up at 6:00.
Okay. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here. Chuck, Any final words? We got just a few seconds.
No,
We'll get out of here.
First great show because we learned a lot about the not only the head football coach but also the principal.
Absolutely, Casey. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. Looking forward to Friday night and everybody. Wow, I can't believe it's here. So Tuscola Mountaineer Football.
It is definitely here.
It gets no better in North Carolina than Mountaineer football.
Remember, next week and from there on, all you little kids, get your Dunkin' Donut cups and be like Jonathan. I'm gonna have mine. You're gonna have.
Well, I promise you, I'm gonna have my coffee.
All right, guys. Everybody have a great Saturday. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Go Mountaineers. And thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Casey. See you guys later.